Hello, philatelic friends! Lately, the internet has been talking all about the new Bugs Bunny stamps issued by the USPS for Bugs Bunny's 80th anniversary. Um, I've been kind of excited about these stamps, and I know other people have too. But I wanted to read this tweet from the punk philatelist. He says, "I grew up watching Bugs Bunny, so on one hand, I love this set, but on the other hand, I gotta ask, 10 stamps for one cartoon rabbit, plus one in 1997? Really? Surely 5 would have done the job. Still, I'll allow that USPS needs all the cash it can get right now." Now, I have a lot of opinions on these stamps, and it was way too much to fit into a tweet, so I've decided to make this video response. I think when we talk about stamps like Bugs Bunny getting a whole set, one of the things we think about is that stamps aren't just a product. They're also like a symbol of what we as a culture put our value onto. And that's why there's always questions in the stamp collecting community. Why does this get a stamp but this doesn't? Why are there more of this and not more of this? A lot of times you'll have people say, why are there not more stamps about historical events, and instead we have these stamps about art? Of course, I am a strong believer that art is an important cultural artifact, and I would argue that Bugs Bunny is an important American cultural artifact. When we think of our major exports as a country, one of our major exports is our culture. Bugs Bunny has been shipped around the world. That is an intellectual property that has reached people all around the globe. And he is kind of an American icon. We can also think about how some of his cartoons, in particular Watts Opera Doc, are in the Library of Congress because of their cultural significance. So I definitely think Bugs Bunny deserves stamps. But I think that what people really want to know is, do we need 10 Bugs Bunny stamps? 11 if you count the 1997 one. There's this implication that more stamps means more cultural value. And when we think of what doesn't have stamps in comparison to what does, that can get touchy. And I definitely understand that. But we also have to think of postage stamps as a product. And as a product, I know a lot of times we think that people don't send mail as much anymore, but people do use stamps. It's not just collectors buying these. So I think that, like, if you wanted to send something fun, as a method of sending a letter, as a product to do a job and convey an emotion, I think these stamps are a great set. I mean, we have some really silly ones. We also have some patriotic ones, kind of based on the World War II propaganda cartoons. So there's a good variety in here. It would be like the USPS also issues love stamps, and in the summer during the stamp show, they're going to issue thank you stamps. These are stamps that invoke an emotion, and they're meant to be used. So we have to consider that as well. That said, what would I personally do to merge these two concepts of cultural value and use as a product, as something fun? What I will say first, as a compliment to these stamps, is that they're very pretty. They look really good. You can tell this is all new art. It's obviously heavily based and referenced on real Bugs Bunny cartoons, but they're all drawn in the same style. They're all uniform, and they have this very painterly look to them. It's a very modern look, and I think that's great in terms of use because it looks pretty. It reminds me of the Art of Disney series of stamps. They showed a lot of different Disney characters, but they were all done in the same style, so they were all uniform. I compare that to the Disney Villains set that came out in 2017, which I do not really like, where they just kind of took the picture of the villain from like a still in the movie and put it over a plain blue background. I'm not fond of those stamps. They don't have that uniformity that the Art of Disney stamps had that was so beautiful. These Bugs Bunny stamps have that uniformity. They look really nice. And I think they look nice in a group of 10. When we think about like a person going to the post office to buy stamps with the intent to use those stamps, they might say, hey, give me a sheet of stamps. And I think that having a sheet of 20 that has 10 different designs looks nicer than, say, the Scooby-Doo stamps, which have just one design, and then you buy a sheet and it's all the same, and it looks kind of bland to see it all the same on the sheet. So, what would I do differently with these stamps? I know I just complimented the stamps on how nice they look, and how they're all uniform, and you can tell it's new art and it's very pretty. But my criticism would be that they all look the same. I think that when we think of Bugs Bunny and 80 years of Bugs Bunny, we think of an evolution of a character. See, when we say Bugs Bunny has 11 stamps now and say Martin Luther King only has 2, there are people behind Bugs Bunny. If I had the chance to redesign this set, I would show more iterations of Bugs Bunny. You can kind of see on this sheet, you can kind of see like the Super Rabbit Bugs Bunny, which was a 40s era cartoon, that he's got the more rounded head, but we don't see one of the really, really oval head of an early Bugs Bunny, something like a Tex Avery Bugs Bunny. You can definitely see some Chuck Jones influence in these, especially Watts Opera Doc, the Brunhilde Bugs Bunny, and the Rabbit of Seville Bugs Bunny. I think that, like, these are in the 50s, and yeah, Chuck Jones, he actually directed the Super Rabbit, and that has the more oval head, but as Chuck Jones, one of the major faces behind Bugs Bunny, continued on, he really developed his own style, and to me, it's the cheeks being really wide. Chuck Jones liked to have these really wide, curly smiles. Think How the Grinch Stole Christmas, when it just curls and curls. So you can see that influence in there. I would like to see more of that. I would like to see the more round-headed Tex Avery, maybe some more wild expressions that he was famous for. Maybe, you know, like some specifically Fritz Freeling. I think the Director Bugs is more of his style. And then we have the Space Jam Bugs Bunny. That's 1996. Kind of a renaissance for Looney Tunes in the late 90s. So we have that one. I guess I would kind of like to see maybe a Tiny Toons Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny was a mentor or a teacher in Tiny Toons, which was like the Spielberg era of cartoon television. Tiny Toons, Animaniacs, and Pinky and the Brain, Freakazoid. He took on a smaller role then, but he was there, and I think that would be good to see. I would like to see the Jessica Bortsky 2011 redesign of Bugs Bunny, which was for the Looney Tunes show, which was actually a sitcom. It faced a lot of criticism because it wasn't a traditional Looney Tunes show, but I really like her design of Bugs Bunny. It was a great way to incorporate the classic style and also some really modern ideas. So I would have liked to see that on there as one of the stamps. There was also the new Looney Tunes show, had a different style that I am not as fond of, but it is still an era, and it would be nicer to see more eras of Bugs, because when you see those different styles, you realize that these aren't just Bugs Bunny stamps, they're all of the animators behind Bugs Bunny, all of the writers, all of the creators who have all added their own spin as it passes on through the generations. So yeah, that's one of the things I would do differently. So why didn't they do this differently? Well, I have a theory. So remember I told you about the Scooby-Doo stamps? I did not like the Scooby-Doo stamps. I'm a fan of Scooby-Doo, but I did not like them. They came out when Scooby-Doo was celebrating his 49th anniversary, and you would think, why not wait till the 50th anniversary? They also came out in conjunction with a Save the Planet environmental campaign that Hanna-Barbera was taking part in. So they were clearly issued not really as an honor for Scooby-Doo, but as advertisement for this event. Now, these Bugs Bunny stamps, yeah, they're honoring 80 years of Bugs Bunny, but they also coincide with the brand new HBO Looney Tunes show. And the new HBO Looney Tunes show really goes back more to the classic model of Bugs, and I think they wanted, they used their influence to kind of make these stamps all have that classic look rather than the newer 2011 or 2015 look. They didn't want to remind people of that. They wanted them to think of the new show. So yeah, I have a lot of opinions on these. I do like them though. I do think they look pretty, and I am going to get some for myself. But I do understand the complaints about them. The cons don't outweigh the pros for me, is what I guess I'm getting at. So, thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoy stamps and enjoy stamp collecting.